Page 449. Truly, with your concept and behavior of the separation, you are living in great erroneous assumption, and through this you become curtailed with Gewaltsamkeit through yourselves and become as hindered in your progress as in your development, i.e., the evolution of your consciousness, as well as with regard to the truth knowledge. The lack of the truth knowledge leads you into the temptation of indulging in imaginations and in unbridled fantasies, and in creating monster-like pictures of the untruth with regards to all things that you cannot see, perceive, recognize, and understand. Therefore, it is not surprising that you indulge in a religious, ideological, or philosophical belief, that you believe in gods and tin gods, demons and idolized human beings, and are far from all sense of the truthly truth and reality, and put on an unknowing smile concerning the teaching of the truth, the teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the life, that is proclaimed and taught to you through the true prophets. You ridicule and slander the real truth of the creation and its laws and recommendations, and fall into the morbid worship of your Godhead, your tin god, or your idolized human beings, in which case you enslave yourselves to them, and get very badly out of the control of the good human nature to the point of fanaticism, in which you then massacre, murder, and rob your fellow human beings for the sake of their different belief, their knowledge, or their being of another kind, which you then, full of mockery, equate with godly love, punishment, and fairness. Truly, because of your belief in gods, tin gods, and idolized human beings of all kinds, you cannot even be astonished at your own wrongdoing, which is characterized by anxiety, shy fear, and horror, because you already make these grow in you through the in any case wrong religious, ideological, or philosophical education that has been wrongly taught to you through the parents or others with educational authority, or that you teach yourselves. And truly, uncountable ones amongst you, you humankind of earth, you have not grown up or do not grow up because your consciousness has remained stuck or remains stuck in the puberty through the wrong education you have received, while your body grows older and takes on the forms of the adulthood. And since puberty is the factor of pre-adulthood, however, is often not used by you human beings to become really adult with regard to an adult individuality, some of the pubescent behavior carries into the whole life and no longer changes, or only changes somewhat when specific learning circumstances arise, and indeed amongst both the male and the female sex. Puberty is actually the quote, Rambo time, or time of brutality, particularly of the male human being, although the female sex is also not excluded from this, and what is not learnt in this time with regard to a positive development of the individuality, i.e. the inner nature, is generally not learnt afterwards either, as there is also a continuation in the life concerning anything bad and negative that has not been cast aside. Thus, the self-education in the stage of the puberty is of utmost importance, since that which must be learnt is in this time, and through which the individuality, i.e. the inner nature, must be formed, determines the further life until the old age, and out of this reason it is very difficult for you, you humankind of earth, to still change to the good and the better, before you have left the time of the puberty, which can stretch from the age of 10 to 17 or even 19. And since the puberty is connected both to the physical development and to the consciousness development, the individuality is also included therein, and is formed until the end of the puberty, which means that, during the puberty time, the most important forms of the individuality, i.e. of the inner nature, are formed, and this process accompanies great circumstances of tension. As a result, physiological and hormonal changes to the body and consciousness are brought about, which is why the puberty is also a phase of social, thought-feeling based as well as psychical unequalizedness. As a rule, the behavior in the puberty is characterized by strong excitement as well as by feeling ambivalence, i.e. feeling doubtfulness, i.e. being torn in the feelings, i.e. relationship contradictoriness, and feeling overboarding, connected with a protesting behavior against the adults and fellow human beings in general, through which orientation difficulties in the social domain, etc., come about. And if some or all of the negative factors of the puberty are not mastered, worked upon, and not brought under control through a healthy social and life-based attitude by the end of the puberty time, and thus influenced the main form of the individuality, i.e. the inner nature, then the human being remains totally or partially stuck in his or her puberty and carries forward everything into the whole coming life. The puberty serves you, humankind of Earth, through the effects of the creational laws and recommendations, to evolve to true human beings and become grown up, so that you may live rightfully in responsibility, righteousness, and conscientiousness, and that you let nothing evil rise up in you. If, however, you do not follow the guidance of the laws and recommendations that are creational, and if you do not use the time and the possibilities of the puberty, then you will live all your life totally or partially in that state, and indeed with all or some of the puberty attributes, which is why you will fall prey to all terrible things, the murdering, the hatred and jealousy, the acting with Gewalt, the unpeace and stinginess, the unfreedom, war, disharmony, the pathological craving for revenge, and the pathological craving for retaliation, the avarice as well as everything else that is of the evil. Be therefore already concerned in your time of the puberty to become true human beings, because after that time it will be so arduous and onerous for you to do so that you can accomplish it only with great exceptions. Therefore the rule is such that you will remain in all the Ausartungen and live them out throughout your life as you have brought them up in your puberty. Consider, if you do not fully come out of your puberty, it will last totally or partially during your whole life. So you will not really become an adult, because adulthood does not mean that you become an adult when your body has grown out of the youth age. Rather, you are adults only then when you have mastered your puberty and have proceeded out of it to become a true human being. If, however, that is not the case, then you will also, during your life, after the time of youth, be more or less, in small or big parts, captives of your puberty factors. Indeed, the puberty influences are, in the normal case, worked upon amply, so no factors thereof are carried forward into the life, which however does not mean that many of you humankind of Earth, are not able to work out certain parts of the puberty problems, and thus take parts of them over into the life, and have to bear them throughout their lifetime, such as aggression, acting with Gewalt, hatred, disharmony, jealousy, feelinglessness, being torn in the feelings, pathological craving for revenge, pathological craving for strife, etc., which does not rarely lead to murder and manslaughter, and even to deeds of war. Therefore, these are to a large extent factors that must be brought under control in the puberty, which is, however, due to a lack of correct education through parents or others with educational authority, as well as through the wrong self-education amongst many of you, you humankind of Earth, not given in great measure. Your self-education has not ended with the end of the puberty time, because even afterwards it is given that you human beings must work on yourselves throughout your lifetime in order to become ever truer in being human in the real and true sense. But these factors of learning are not puberty moments carried over into the life, but rather normal, life-based learning functions, through which possibilities are given to influence the individuality, i.e., the inner nature, and to form it further to the good and better. Throw away everything that is terrible already in your puberty, so that you do not torment yourselves with it throughout your life, and do not bring terribleness upon yourselves and upon your fellow human beings. You humankind of Earth, bring down the pubertal barriers that you have raised up in you as an erroneous assumption and have taken over into the life, because only if you bring down these barriers, even though this is immensely difficult, will your life have stability, and your whole humankind will have the chance that true love and freedom, as well as harmony and peace, will come amongst you. Your previous wrong attitude towards the life and the duties thereof has created in you a completely wrong basis on which you strive fully in vain, despite great plans and deeds to find the real truth of all truth in yourselves and in the creational laws and recommendations, which you could build up in yourselves as all-embracing knowledge and great wisdom. If you strive for the effective truth, as you can find it in yourselves and in the laws and recommendations of the creation, then you come across things that free you from your fickleness and your doubts and compulsions, and shatter your whole construct of the irresponsibility, unrighteousness, and consciencelessness, so that you also lose your pusillanimity and give up your resentment. If you humankind of Earth, however, do not follow this guidance, then every one of you will have to bear the disadvantage all alone. As a result, there will be no advancement for you, neither with regard to a progress in the individuality, i.e. in the formation of the inner nature, nor with regard to the consciousness evolution. If you leave the guidance of the progress and the development out of your attention, then you will stand still in useless stagnation, or you will even retreat and fall back into old things and vices, etc., that you had arduously mastered and brought behind you. And if you do not follow the guidance, then you lengthen your way that you must arduously go for the sake of your general progress and your consciousness evolution. But if you find the way of the truth in you, which is itself the truth and the culmination point, then you will bring together knowledge upon knowledge, and build it up according to the principles of, quote, constant dripping fills the glass. Thus you will become ever more knowing and wiser in the truth, and will begin to live it. And if you have finally comprehended the truth, in its entirety, as it truthfully is, then you will tread on the right way of the life, and will get ever closer to the actual culmination point, which is given in the evolution of your consciousness. And truly, if you reach this culmination point and strive for the ongoing consciousness evolution, then the rise up to it will make you great joy and will bring you satisfaction. In the rising up in the consciousness evolution, You can then feel and understand the interaction between all things, how they pulse, with the warmness of the life through the whole, through the oneness which is given through the creational, and which thus connects everything with each other, and in an interacting wise, because everything is driven and held in its existence, life, and activity by the creational energy and power. And if you comprehend and understand this, then the shining light of the truth will ignite in you, through which you will fill your life with love and strive unstoppably after the being human in the real and true sense, after peace, freedom, and harmony for yourselves and for your whole humankind.